Hello everyone, you're now with me, Ruben Gomez, for the Nightline. Let's moving on to the news. The number of those unemployed has risen. Those running businesses had to close shop and suffer losses as the people have no income. The government, through the National Employment Council (NEC), will strive to create 500,000 jobs despite the country being in a dire economic situation as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin said this was because the number of those unemployed this year has increased to 700,000 or 5.6% compared to only 3% the previous year. Muhyiddin said although he was aware that the target could be quite difficult to achieve, the government had outlined various proactive measures, including offering tax incentives to attract foreign investors. He added if they opt for other countries to invest in, the government would not be able to provide employment opportunities. Therefore, he urged the Human Resources Ministry and other relevant ministries to utilize the 2 billion ringgit fund provided by the government to train more young people, especially skills training. Muhyiddin said there were many graduate and school leavers who failed to land jobs these days but expressed confidence that with skills acquired, they stand a better chance of securing employment.
The Sarawak government will continue the perimeter survey program throughout the state. This is to ensure that the residents in rural areas have land ownership letter.
Deputy Chief Minister Dato' Amar Awang Tengah Ali Ahsan said the perimeter survey for native customary rights land will also be continued to recognise the people's rights. In addition, the state government also approved several applications for the resident to acquire land for the purpose of agriculture. However, the approval process will take time as the state government needs to review all applications.
3 big projects with an allocation of 73 million ringgit for development in the Tambirat village area will change the landscape of the area.
The 3 projects are Kampong Tambirat Hawker Centre, Kampong Tambirat Riverbanks and Kampong Tambirat Soil Erosion Fortification. Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture, Dato' Abdul Karim Rahman Hamzah said at the same time it will boost the economy in the surrounding area for the community. For Kampong Tambirat Hawker Centre, which includes 80 stalls, Karim said its construction will take a year and is expected to start operating at the end of next year. Meanwhile, Karim said for the constructions of the riverbanks and soil erosion fortification, it is still in the tendering process.
The relationship between Gabungan Parti Sarawak GPS, Perikatan Nasional PN and Barisan Nasional BN should be allowed to nurture naturally. Parti Pesaka Bumi Putra Bersatu PBB Vice President Dato' Karim Rahman Hamzah said there is no need for GPS to have a formal charter with PN and BN to ensure that they jointly contest in the next general election.
Karim said all the coalition parties need to have faith in each other without having to sign the charter. The moment they sign the charter means that the coalition parties do not trust each other.
Sudah ada persefahaman yang baik. Adakah perlu kita nak menandatangani perjanjian? The moment you sign the perjanjian, that reflects you don't trust each other. You don't trust each other. So you don't have to sign that perjanjian. Let the relationship nurture jadi baik. Lagipun parti-parti di Sarawak, parti GPS, we are not interested in wanting to put our candidate in West Malaysia. You don't have to worry.
He said this at a press conference after attending a groundbreaking ceremony for the construction of 7 million ringgit integrated market at Kampong Tambirat. He further said the parties' relationship should be allowed to nurture naturally, adding that GPS is not interested to put their candidates in Peninsular Malaysia.
That is why GPS was set up. Gabungan Parti Sarawak dengan tema slogan Sarawak diutamakan. Sarawak diutamakan. We want to look after our state the way we want to be. You look after your wilayah, we look after our wilayah. But then we are friendly because we want to see a stable government, federal government. That is the reason why we give support to Perikatan Nasional. Not to say that we are taking advantage. We want to see a stable federal government, whereby with a stable federal government, the economy will be able to, ekonomi akan dapat berkembang dengan baik dan sebagainya.
Right, the Sarawak Federations of Chinese Associations has been granted a piece of land by the state government to construct its headquarters. According to Minister of Local Government and Housing, Datuk Sri Dr. Sin Kui Hian, the headquarters will be located just behind the Spring Shopping Mall.
Dr. Sim said the Federation is still in the midst of working out all the details for the headquarters construction while expressing his gratitude for looking after the interests of the Chinese community.
Right. The Public Works Department, JKR of Miri and Contractor, has been called to expedite stalled Maruti Bridge. Assistant Minister of Local Government and Housing, Dr. Pengguang Manggil, has implemented a plan of action in mitigating the delay with the correct specification accordingly to the schedule outlined by the government.
Pada 11 hari bulan, saya telah mengadakan satu perjumpaan dengan pihak JKR dan juga kontraktor jembatan Maruti oleh kerana pembinaan jembatan ini adalah lewat dari jadual yang telah ditetapkan. Jadi saya mengambil berat tentang perkara ini oleh kerana ini adalah harapan rakyat di Maruti yang mereka telah nanti-nantikan selama ini. Dan saya telah diberi jaminan bahawa pihak kontraktor akan melaksanakan satu catch-up plan. Dan susulan daripada ini, saya akan mengadakan satu lagi perjumpaan pada 9 hari bulan Januari untuk menentukan bahawa apa yang telah mereka janjikan, iaitu catch-up plan, telah dilaksanakan. Itu satu.
Pengguang, who is also the assemblyman for Maruti, also satisfied with the Rural Transformation Project, RTP, such as the Maruti Mini Industrial Estate. Moreover, the Miri Waterfront project and the seawall project that costs about 6.3 million ringgit are almost 60% complete.
Saya juga ambil peluang untuk meninjau pelbagai projek di Maruti, projek rakyat dan projek RTP dan sebagainya seperti Mini Industrial Estate yang kini sudah siap, dan juga waterfront fasa 1 yang saya fikir telah menyencah 60% siap, dan juga benteng retaining wall yang telah dilaksanakan oleh pihak DID yang mendalam belanja sebanyak 6.3 juta ringgit. Saya pun berpuas hati telah melihat projek tertentu, dan juga Dewan Masyarakat dan Padang Futsal di Kampung Pemindahan Maruti. Saya juga sempat meninjau projek masjid yang tenda telah tutup pada 9 hari bulan 12 ini, dan akan naik taraf masjid besar di Maruti yang dalam belanja sebanyak 1 juta ringgit. Itu masjid saja. Jadi selain daripada itu, kerajaan negeri juga telah meluluskan peruntukan untuk membina dewan serbaguna di dekat masjid di Maruti juga. Jadi ini adalah usaha saya untuk menentukan bahawa projek tertentu dilaksanakan seharusnya mengikut jadual dan mengikut spek-spek yang telah ditetapkan oleh.
Sarawakians can generate lucrative income through agriculture. According to Minister in the Chief Minister's Department for Integrity and Ombudsman, Datuk Talib Zulkifli, agriculture was just as important as the fishing industries because of its role in economic development.
Sekarang semua jadi duit. Kalau dulu kita dapat ikan 10 kilo di Kuala Tatau, kita buat masin. Nak dihantar ke Bintulu, alang-alang. Kalau dapat ikan terlalu banyak, tak ada orang beli, harga turun buat masin. Tapi sekarang kita lihat keadaan sudah berubah. Kalau ikan banyak, kita telefon saja. ada orang nak beri. Bermakna nilai tidak turun.
He said this when officiating the closing of Agriculture Community Outreach or AgriCorp program. He also hopes that farmers will liaise with many related agencies to utilize modern technology which guaranteed higher produce and quality crops.
Welcome back. The government has plans to increase its purchase of the COVID-19 vaccine to cover the immunizations needs of about 60 to 70% of Malaysians compared to 30% currently. Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin said this was because some nations had purchased doses exceeding their population.
So far, Muhyiddin said this has been the advice of Health Ministry. If it can be increased to that number, then more people will be protected from the COVID-19 virus. The Prime Minister said suppliers have also been asked to expedite delivery of the vaccine, which is scheduled to arrive in March. On November 24, the government, through the Health Ministry, signed a preliminary purchasing agreement with pharmaceutical company Pfizer to obtain 12.8 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines to meet the immunization needs of 20% or 6.4 million Malaysians. 2 days before that, an agreement with the COVAX facility was also signed to meet the immunization needs of another 10% of Malaysians.
Right, Wisma Sebakas cluster has officially ended today after no new COVID-19 cases were reported within 28 days from the date the last case was reported. Meanwhile, Sarawak State Disaster Management Committee said Sarawak have no new positive COVID-19 cases reported today.
The committee said in its daily COVID-19 statement that the number of accumulated positive cases in the state thus remains at 1,075. As of today, 2 clusters remain active in Kuching, namely the Green Hill cluster with 91 cases and Besi cluster with 12 cases. On another development, Malaysia continues to record 4 digits new daily COVID-19 cases when 1,229 cases are being recorded today with 4 more deaths. Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah in a statement said of the total new cases, there are 2 imports while the internal spreads of COVID-19 stand at 1,227 cases. He added Selangor is still reporting the highest daily cases at 435 cases, with 344 cases from clusters and close contact screening of COVID-19 cases, which are actively conducted in the field.
The Malaysian Maritime Enforcement Agency MMEA scored its biggest drug haul in its 13 years of operation when it seized 2,118 kilograms of methamphetamine worth of 105.9 million ringgit. The agency also detained a man and a recreation boat 5.3 nautical miles south of Pulau Kendi near Teluk Kumbar, Penang.
Its Director General Dato' Muhammad Zubil Matsom said the agency detected the white and blue recreation boat with yellow lines which appeared suspicious, operated by the man in Pulau Kendi waters at 11:30 a.m. Upon inspection, 130 sacks containing 1,998 packets of China tea filled with methamphetamine weighing 2,118 kilograms worth 105.9 million ringgit were found believed to have been brought in from Indonesia. All seized drugs were believed to be distributed to the syndicates network, including to be smuggled to Thailand as the market price there was twice the price in Malaysia. The man is now being remanded for 7 days and the case is being investigated under Section 39B of the Dangerous Drugs Act 1952.
The Ministry of Entrepreneur Development and Cooperatives MEDEC is optimistic in assisting some 25,000 small businesses nationwide to go digital within 2 years. The move is to ensure their survival in the post-COVID-19 era.
Its Minister, Datuk Seri Dr. Wan Junaidi Tuanku Jaafar in a statement today said this was largely due to multiplier effect that the ministry expects to see from various programs conducted by its agencies, with the most recent being a collaboration between SME Corp and Warong Riders Delivery Service via SME Corp's Micro Connector program. Under this program, he said MEDEC targets to have some 5,000 delivery riders joining the Warong Riders program, which would be set up in all parliamentary constituencies across the country. In view of this, he said MEDEC was keen to work with other ministries on various programs to help small business in digitalizing their operations.
The government is expected to earn palm oil windfall profit levy of more than 500,000 million ringgit in 2021 if the price of crude palm oil CPO remains stable at 3,000 ringgit per tonne until next year.
Malaysian Palm Oil Board MPOB Chairman Dato' Ahmad Jazlan Yaakob said this is an important contribution of the palm oil industry for the plantation sector to gross domestic product GDP as the country grapples with the COVID-19 pandemic. Ahmad Jazlan said the windfall profit levy of 3% is only imposed when the price of palm oil reaches 2,500 ringgit per tonne and above of the peninsula, and 1.5% for Sabah and Sarawak when the price fetches 3,000 ringgit per tonne and above. Meanwhile, he asked more part-time independent smallholders to come forward to register for the MSPO certification to make it easier for them to market palm oil overseas.
UMNO leaders who are said to have signed a statutory declaration SD to support Dato' Sri Anwar Ibrahim are advised to lodge a police report and file a complaint with the Malaysian Communications and Multimedia Commission MCMC to deny it.
Barisan National Secretary General Tan Sri Anwar Musa said, however, if it's true, the leaders must be honest with the people to avoid them from giving the party a bad image. Anwar was commenting on claims that there were UMNO MPs who have stated their support for the PKR president to form a new government. He also reiterated UMNO's stand on the no Anwar, no DAP policy. As such, Anwar advised party members to place the interests of the party above their personal interests.
Welcome back. After accepting the offer from Sarawak United FC, Nur Shahrul Idlan Talaha, or more affectionately known as Matias, decided not to return to Malaysia Premier League 2020.
Matias is expected to return to Malaysia at the end of this month after his contract with BG Petham ends and officially joining Sarawak United. According to his agent, Wan Muhammad Anwari, after the controversial issue in Thailand earlier this year, Matias' comeback to Sarawak United was to realise the team's effort in returning the glory of Sarawak football. However, the decision to return to Malaysia has taken many aspects into consideration, especially Matias' snap by Thai Second League.
Fierce competitions between Jonathan Yepa and Muhammad Haikal Hanafi ensues at the Majlis Sukan Negara 2020 MSN organised by the National Sports Council NSC sparks the interest of spectators and audience alike.
According to the national athletic team coach Mand Shahar Abdul Jalil, he described the competition as a preeminent since the two have not competed in a very long time. He also added that the tournament is a challenge for his sports protege. This is presumably because of the COVID-19 pandemic posed a real challenge to both the sporting world on a national and international level. Jonathan won 2 gold medals in the manned 100 metres and 200 metres category, defeating Haikal, who was crowned as Southeast Asia Sprint King, reaching the blue ribbon at 10.60 compared to Haikal at 10.65.
The Sarawak Rural Water Supply Department has been informed that Simanggang Town, Siraman, has recently suffered from water supply disruption. The department, in a statement, said it was identified due to a technical problem at Bayai Water Treatment Plant on December 5th.
The statement added upgrading works of Bayai Water Treatment Plant to its treated water output is underway. It is expected to be completed by the second quarter of 2021. The treated water output was targeted to be increased from 33.33 million litres per day to 53.33 million litres per day. The project, known as Upgrading of Bayai Water Treatment Plant, was to overcome the water supply issues at Simanggang Town.
Well, that's all for me for the TVS Nightline, 11:30 p.m. This concludes all the news. Ruben Gomez, anytime, anyway. Stay safe. Thank you.